Adrian Fahrenheit Tepes here, and this is another volume of Whatever Happened to the Game, a podcast that running on either Wednesdays or Thursdays each week, describing what happened to your favorite video game franchises. The following is 3 episodes of recommended retro games, so games from the past, recommended, including recommendations for myself as well as a guest of mine, Albelio, on the show. So we're going to take a look at 3 episodes and nearly 2 hours of fun from this series. I hope you all have a wonderful time enjoying these episodes, and as this premieres, I hope you have a wonderful time reminiscing about the past and learning some things you may not have previously known about these favorite video game franchises. Without much further ado, let us begin. Hi there, Adrian Fahrenheit here, and this is another episode of Whatever Happened to the Game. Today we're going to be talking about Halo. So, in order to start with talking about Halo, we're going to have to talk about the various games which led up to Halo. And this goes back to the early days of the franchise. Before I get too far, I just want to say I recommend Steam, online game service. There's numerous old and new games for PC, and Steam does a great job of keeping old games running and running and running. Even when you get a new PC, which I have done, my games in my Steam library are still up there for me to play, which is excellent. Now, to move forward a little bit, it's great. Many of the games that are mentioned are going to be available on Steam. So without too much further ado, I'm going to be talking a little bit about what came before. Now, as we look at Bungie, and before we look at Bungie, previously there was Whatever Happened to the Game, and that was the Alien game. So it's going to be an interesting video, and I collected them all into a premiere, which is great. Now, the road to Halo began with Pathways into Darkness, which is interesting. It's a dungeon crawler. Now, if you aren't too familiar with a dungeon crawler game, we talk about, say, Eye of the Beholder. So yes, you can do shooting, and you can do plenty of work when it comes to going around and picking up items. And so we're going to take a little look at Pathway into Darkness right now. Bungie's first game. So as you can see, it's very similar to Wolfenstein 3D. The overall setup, how you have, it's not true 3D at all. You have your gun in front, like Wolfenstein. You have these flat walls. They try to make it appear 3D. Now, these games are not actually 3D, as they more or less. Hi there. I know.
Hey, sorry I'm late, buddy.
This is the start of Bungie software with Pathways to Darkness. You're playing as an Army Ranger, exploring a mysterious disturbance at a Mayan temple, so you're going to the sublevels. This is how Bungie got started. As you can see, it's very similar to Wolfenstein 3D.
Oh, yeah, very much. This looks interesting.
Oh. Started as this is how Bungie started. You find all these weird relics from all over history. Like, why are you finding Nazi stuff inside a Mayan temple in the lower levels? But ultimately, this game is pretty much dead, so I'm going to spoil the fact that you find out that it is an alien race that is hiding down there, and you, in fashion of the movie E.T., you help them leave the planet. But you have to fight through all these things to get to the lowest level.
Interesting. It's funny how it actually sort of looks and plays better than Wolfenstein. Is this older than Wolfenstein?
This is actually 1993. 1993.
Okay, that is
So
fine.
the founders of Bungie started off on PCs writing this game. They were literally just finishing their computer science. Well, one of them was a computer science major when he and his partner in programming this for making this game. It wasn't until after they graduated that they could get their own little studio in Chicago to work on more games, like the Marathon series.
Interesting.
But as you can see on the lower right, there's a menu of your items you're carrying on you and the items you picked up. So kind of similar to Bioshock in a way, or System Shock. But yeah, in the early days, they're also pretty exclusive, and that most of their games were Mac OS only. That obviously changed with when they got acquired by Microsoft.
Gotta love how there's there's definitely some Wolfenstein in the DNA because they have a copy of Mein Kampf.
Yeah, they do. They do. They do. It's also kind of similar, except to really early Elder Scrolls games, such as Daggerfall or Arena, which I finally started with the older Elder Scrolls games. GOG had them, so I started trying them out. They also had the older Elder Scrolls games for free when they had the Bethesda sale in August, so it's past now. But sadly, of all the things Bungie has, this game is not one of the freebies they have here on Steam right now. They do have Marathon, not thanks to Bungie, but thanks to another open source developer known as LF1. But that's going to be coming up next. So it ultimately turns out to be a prequel to Marathon series of first-person shooters when there's an alien race at the bottom of the basement of a Mayan temple known as the Jaro, which you meet in the Marathon series as well.
Interesting. Are we gonna learn that Halo is actually just a future sequel of these games?
Maybe, although it doesn't quite work because Marathon is even farther in the future and they don't have faster than light travel. At least the humans don't. The alien races do, which is why I'm going to go to the next one. So the Marathon Trilogy. So only the second one, back in the day release, was actually available for Windows. The other ones are Mac OS exclusive. But this was somewhat of a contemporary competition with Doom. I mean, the first one came out in 1994, but the main idea was having their own first-person shooters. And of course, back then, with the limited data they had for the game, they used text. So I'm going to show a little bit of the three Marathon games, and Bungie's going to go back to it for the newer PlayStation games, another Marathon. Although it's a distant sequel, it mainly appears to be focused on multiplayer games, which is fine because multiplayer was a big thing. But I don't know, not quite the same.
I also noticed that was basically the Tau's symbol.
Yeah, it's the symbol used in Pillar of Autumn in Halo. And it's also the Marathon symbol in the game as well. So if you get this one, all the three Marathon games are on Steam right now for free, so you can get them that way. Which is good because I tried the original and it involves keyboard controls, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, mouse controls on a PC are the best. Way to go. So here's the text wall they use, because unlike Halo, their AI, known as Leela in this game, interesting.
she talks to you with text walls on consoles. It's not like Cortana where you always hear her talking to you in her head. Obviously, this is part of the technical limitations of the 90s, but you can see that there's some degree of a predecessor there with what they're doing of you having a companion AI with you.
Well, it's common for developers to take mechanics that worked for past titles and then reworking them a little to operate in the future projects.
Right.
So it's interesting to see how it all goes.
Right. And that's the thing is that before we start with Halo, we really have to take a look at all these things that Bungie did and how they developed the concepts which they would essentially streamline and accrue them together into the final Halo products. So Marathon 2 came the year each one came one year after the other. So Marathon 2 came again in 1995. So this is you'll recognize this is the same composer as Halo with Martin O'Donnell.
Oh, neat.
This is where he got started with doing his music for Bungie, was Marathon 2.
Yeah, this is also basically like the same, or at least what they showed there on the art style. That was pretty much the Mjolnir armor.
Right. Similar, although it has the eye slit, and that is your character. He's known as Mjolnir cyborg. So.
No, really?
Yes. So the other guys are what we call Bob. Born on board, because like I said earlier, this is a Starship Marathon. It doesn't go faster than light, so people live their whole lives for 50 years to reach Tau Ceti 3 or 4. I'm trying to remember which planet in the star system, but yeah. So it's an artificial habitat in space. So these guys have never seen Earth. They've been born on the ship. And the cyborg or security officer was taken out of stasis. So the new thing that Marathon 2 does, just like Halo 2 would do later, is it starts the dual wielding concept. Like if a gun doesn't involve holding it with two hands, you can use two of it.
Okay. And what year did this one come out?
1995, the year after the first Marathon.
Gotcha.
Now this is remastered, so it's not the kind of graphics you'd see in the original.
Sure.
But I do recommend OF1. I mean, it's a free way to get old 90s FPS games. I mean, all three marathons. And it's, I'm kind of disappointed that it wasn't Bungie that did this because, I mean, they're releasing a distant sequel with another marathon game. I guess they're assuming that people think it's the first one, or I don't know. These games are 30 years ago, so I don't know how many people would still have the nostalgia hype for another marathon game.
Well, they've been able to do all kinds of different things with just old properties that had no rhyme or reason to come back.
Right. I mean, at the
end,
good
Lord, we got a sequel to Twister.
Oh yeah, that's a film. Yes. Yeah, that's a film, but that's true.
Yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure since they 343 Studios just like shifted over to doing they just changed their name to from 343 to Halo Studios. I don't imagine anybody's gonna want to bring up any of these older projects. It looks like Bungie is just completely dedicated to Destiny.
Well, yeah, Destiny, and I don't know. They gave me away. I haven't even touched on my Steam library yet. I mean, it looks interesting as an RPG, but I don't know. I'm just focusing on finishing what I have, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, same. I started at the top of the list on Steam, and I've got like 150 games. Probably played like a quarter of that.
Oh my, 100? How did you do that?
I've been on Steam for a long time.
I mean, so have I, but mainly my original reason for being on it was Half-Life. Half-Life.
Yeah,
And,
amazingly,
Portal.
I never did. I never actually played Half-Life.
You haven't?
No.
I recommend it. I think it's for 2004. Half-Life 2 was pretty good, and the same with the original one. They did quite a bit in terms of having you operate objects in your environment. Like you get on a crane, you manually control the crane.
Oh, okay. Is that what Half-Life may have kind of got big for? Was just environmental interaction?
Yes, that's exactly what Half-Life had. In fact, they used the engine from Quake 2, but they added some elements like environmental interaction, flipping switches, operating cranes, running remote control cars into the game.
Oh, okay.
And it's interesting. It's one of those games that I really recommend playing the first Half-Life for the second one, because you kind of need to know what's going on from the first Half-Life. But yeah, they were Half-Life is what got Valve Software started, and it's iconic to Valve, so it's going to stay on Steam.
Gotcha.
So in this game, you don't pick up med packs. You have to hit a console, and the console refills your health.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to hit a secret now with a grenade launcher. Don't try this at home, by the way.
Yeah, good old rocket jumping.
Yep.
Oh, it pops up like Castlevania.
Right. Which reminds me, I'm gonna try and finish Simon's Destiny again. That's a good Doom mod that's based on Castlevania.
Yeah. It was. I really like those kind of fan projects.
I think it's one of the best ones they've done with cheesy Doom in terms of mods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully they actually do something a little bit more with it now that Doom 1 and 2 are out, and it's much more. It's got such a resurgence now. Maybe it'll actually go somewhere.
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, Doom. Yeah, Doom.
Yeah, Doom. For anybody who's not aware, Doom 1 and 2 were recently re-released on Steam in their original versions. They were all compiled together with a bunch of the other the DLC or expansions. Very different era from the expansions, and you had like master levels of Doom 2 and Plutonia Experiment. So Final Doom 1, yeah, Doom 1, 2, and Final Doom, as well as a bunch of the later introduced expansion packs like not master levels of Doom 2. There's another pack that's like 8 super high detailed maps. It came out on the 360 with I want to say it was Doom 3, and they also made a whole new one.
I mean, Doom 3 originally was just Xbox. I mean, because 2004 was that time where they were still.
Yeah. Thank you.
But they were getting ready for the Xbox 360 as somewhat of a transition, which is why I was thinking of going off Halo. We're going to talk about what we think will be the successor to the Nintendo Switch whenever that happens. We'll see how we'll even follow up if they do release the new, like with the Switch 2, as I'm going to call it, and see what happens with it. But yeah,
it was really funny. They just called it the Switchblade, but
Switchblade.
Yeah. But yeah,
that might be a gangster reference, though. People could, in today's world, they could get triggered and probably call Switchblade a gangster reference.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean,
but yeah, Doom 2 has a new campaign, and
I've got my Gerber.
It's nice,
and it works great.
Mm-hmm.
It helps. So
I do like that the switches are nice and clear in this game.
Yes, this is actually a remaster in the Steam version for
Mhm.
LS1. So another good reason to have it. But yeah, this is what started the gimmick of having like infinity in the title of a game, like how they did BioShock Infinite or Halo Infinite and so on.
Oh,
And this
okay.
is where they do the whole time traveling within the game for Marathon as well. But at the end, it's kind of confusing. So I'm wondering why they made a sequel to Marathon, but I guess it could be a soft reboot. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to stay on Marathon too much longer. We're going to go.
Is this the now I did recognize the armor a little bit, or maybe it's just my memory getting old, like me. Um, the is this the uh armor suit they used for the character in uh Red vs. Blue when Church has to keep going back in time?
Yeah,
And
yeah. They took the Marathon asset, and you can tell by the low resolution that it's
okay,
Marathon.
okay,
That was the Marathon. So I'm not going to stay too long on Marathon, but
sure, sure.
the next one is Myth: The Fallen Lords. It's Bungie's way of pioneering the RTS. So in their RTS, you don't have base building. You have a limited number of troops, and you have it all play out in 3D. Right, you have the camera angles change, and you have a limited number of soldiers. So your soldiers get experience by surviving a mission. So then, if you have soldiers that survive missions, they have higher HP. They're more accurate in their weapon attacks, and so on. And there's so
Oh,
many
okay.
environmental aspects too, such as dwarves throw grenades, but maybe the grenade fails to explode and someone else could pick it up, or if the grenade falls in the water, it won't explode, and so on.
Interesting.
And what you see in the cover for Myth is that you see a ghoul, and as your enemies, because you're playing against the undead hordes, the ghouls in Myth are dangerous because they can pick up various objects and either throw them or use them as a weapon themselves. So the ghoul, as you see
Oh,
in the cover, he picked up another guy's sickle, and he's using it against the regular standard soldier for the human army. So that's the crazy part.
Lasted 4 days without. Monday, September 15th.
I'll be back. If you can
Outskirts of
keep
Tir.
commenting.
yeah, sure, sure, sure.
The battle for Madrigal lasted 4 days without.
Gotta love how the
Shiva fell on
Covenant
the first night in a
is
spectacular
here.
dream duel with Rabican, one of the 9. No one expected.
It's like so many of the other
Never
other things that were
challenged
mentioned
one of the
with
4
all of the
and won. But the truth
returning
behind the victory
elements from
is
previous
stranger than
games.
any of the rumors. Apparently the 9 found the severed head of one of Balor's enemies from the old days, buried out in the desert under several tons of sand and rock, and managed to start talking to the thing. Balor is the power behind the Fallen Lords, and we figured his enemy is
What
our
dialogue managed to start
They
talking
say
to
that
the
the head
thing?
had an old score to settle with Shiva, and told Rabican that her one weakness was vanity, and showed him how to exploit it. The head appears to know something about everything, and now it has us looking for an artifact called the Total Codex. It's been located in the ruined city of Covenant, but the first group sent to retrieve it has not returned.
I do appreciate how the
In a
dialogue
few minutes, Rabican
is
himself is going to send a
more
few of us
like
through a
somebody
world
just
knot to Covenant
trying to
to
retell
bring
you
back the
what's
Codex.
actually happening. Homecoming. I wonder if that's the small map for this area. I'm sure it is. Is this live action? It would definitely be appreciated if this was like a film. Definitely for that era. Oh, wait, maybe not. It's definitely for that era of RTSs. including these load times. I wonder if the game crashed. Wait, I see something. Oh no, Adrian. I used to play Myth back in the day when my family owned a Mac. Oh, yeah. Good old times. Hey, Chaos. How you doing, buddy? Hey, Adrian. You back?
Yeah, I'm back here for now. I got kicked off the internet.
Did Myth just crash or something?
My internet connection crashed, and I rebooted the connection.
Ah, gotcha.
So this is
Ooh, it glows in the dark. She has got some amazing face of the heroine.
Yeah,
you know, that classic blunder in Hollywood and
film. But this is another bit of work by Martin O'Donnell here too. Last game released before the acquisition by Microsoft.
I feel like I've seen information about this in an old Game Informer or something. Because I do recognize some of the imagery here. I just don't. Not that it isn't obviously inspired by Ghost in the Shell. That comes immediately to mind.
Yeah, it was inspired by. It was more or less inspired by that. They released it on both PC and PlayStation 2, so.
Oh, okay.
That's probably why it was mentioned in magazines.
This is horrible. Syndicate troops are attacking the airport.
So this is by Amanda Wynn. I think she hasn't shown up much now, but she's both the voice of the robot named Shinatama and Kinoko, the character you're playing as.
Okay.
But for a Bungie game, it's special because it involved having a limited number of weapons. You can only carry one weapon on yourself at a time. In Halo, it's only two.
I love how they tried to hide the villain, be like, we're not going to show his face just yet. And then they show his profile, and you're like, oh, that's him.
Yeah. Yeah, you know who he is throughout this game. Well, you know who he looks like, but you just don't know who he is in relation to the plot. And of course, you can talk to us people.
I thought you were about to lay her out. Like, you're under arrest. Pop.
Yeah, they also do talks about their fighting moves like it's a Capcom game.
Yeah, this is very reminiscent of a lot of. I don't remember what the actual like style of game is called, but this one looks like it plays a lot like Blade, Buffy, and a bunch of other games where you have like
Early
this free
2000s.
environment movement.
Yeah, look at the civilians can give you med packs.
Yeah, especially if they're not dead.
Right. Oh. But as you can see, it's good because it has like stylized fighting to the weapons.
Here, take this hypo.
It reminds me of another game that someone mentioned about on YouTube, Fighting Force, where you could basically pick up weapons and hit people with them, or just punch them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Serpentine.
All right, let's go there. All right. Flipping them over does a lot of damage when in doubt.
You can just abuse that mechanic. It's like Soul Calibur all over again.
Yeah.
When in doubt, just throw them.
Yeah. All right. Uh-oh. Now these are the guys that. Oh.
Wow, that recoil is rough.
Right, but it's just that if you hit them in melee enough, they'll blow up, which can destroy you.
Oh. Gotcha.
Oops! I didn't mean to hit him too.
Oh, thank goodness! I thought you killed him.
I did sometimes accidentally hit people, which is why I like the later ones because there aren't any bystanders.
Gotcha.
Hey, you jumped in front of me.
And then he jumped in front of you, and oh, all right. Well, I guess everyone dies. These hands are rated E for everyone.
Yeah, or maybe I just knocked him out, but who knows?
Yeah, that's the old Batman excuse.
Especially in those Arkham games where they leave people hanging upside down, they slam to the wall. It's like, okay, don't worry.
They've got like stage 4 concussion. And he's like, "Where's Joker?" It's like the you beat the man into first grade, bro. Like, how are they supposed to give you any information? I do like that the weapons come and go, and you can really only pick up like one at a time. Although it's funny that they all drop in a convenient, pack from Walmart.
Yeah.
Sales tag included.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a primitive way of just highlighting so you could see it.
It's funny how people supposedly didn't die from broken legs, arms in the Batman games. Oh yeah, it's any of these games like that are always comedic.
No, the peak one was Arkham Knight, where you take the Batmobile and you got rocket launchers and you're blowing up cars. It's like, are you sure
Oh,
no
yeah,
cars
yeah.
have people in them?
Yeah. Yeah, you double tap with the rear wheels and somehow they're still alive. Batman doesn't kill. It's like, what? Like, how is that possible?
It's a real stretch to say there wasn't anybody in those cars you destroyed.
This person's bone marrow is leaking through their skin and you think they're okay?
More or less.
You almost dodged everything perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah, with the plasma rifle, it's how do you say it? It's slow on the reload, so you can, if you know how they time the reloads, you can avoid it.
Oh, Adrian. He was like, "Oh, I could do this too."
Yeah, more or less. So, with Oni, that is the last game before Halo happened.
Okay. So. And what a major step forward from this Halo was.
Oh, yes. the monument to all their sins. Well, that's the, as they say. Let's see. Okay. And for some reason in Xbox games, there's so many cases of you being knocked unconscious by a escape pod landing, including Halo.
Well, that's that
Knights of
trope
the
of trying to.
Republic.
Yeah. Well, so many end up trying to do that. They end up using that trope to try to get around dealing with having to transport characters from one location to another.
But yeah, I mean, Halo was nice. It had elements of previous games, like I'm trying to remember which came first, GoldenEye or Shadow Warrior, where you could drive a tank.
Can you move?
I will look that up because I feel like Shadow Warrior might. No. Shadow Warrior I think comes after.
Yeah, they were both in 1997.
Let's see. No, not N54, you tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, 97 for that.
GoldenEye was 97, but I'm just trying to remember which month of 97.
Yeah, because
The
the other question too is like their development cycle. I don't remember which one was in development first.
Well, it was Shadow Warrior was by 3D Realms, the build engine. I think GoldenEye was the first
Shadow
one.
Warrior began development early 94. Development for GoldenEye began in early 95.
Oh, so this is August 1997 when GoldenEye was released. So this is only a few months prior for Shadow Warrior. I will give GoldenEye credit for being actual 3D in terms of 3D objects.
Yeah, because Shadow Warrior was just an upgrade from Duke Nukem.
Right, it was the same build engine, but I'd argue
in May. Okay, May 97 for Shadow Warrior. So Shadow Warrior was developed first and released first.
Now this is where I'm being an idiot and trying to shoot the Banshees, because you can shoot him down, but he crushed me.
The one thing I do enjoy about this one so far is that there's not, because my lady and I are not too far into the game, but I do. One of the things I really do like is the short iteration times.
Right. You can also listen to Cortana on the fly rather than your Marathon, where you have to read the text on a console.
Mm-hmm.
Must be looking for survivors. I recommend immediate evasion.
But unfortunately, I'm gonna have to record if things don't change, because for some reason this one right here, this is recorded off the Master Chief Collection on Steam, but for some reason, Halo 2, Halo 3 aren't working for me, or at least it's weird graphics bugs for now. But,
did you verify the file integrity?
Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should do that. I'll reinstall, but sometimes it happens. Maybe I could borrow someone's Xbox or something to play it and record it that way.
Right.
Hey, little brother, can I use your Xbox? I need to record footage.
It's for YouTube. Come on. You have your Xbox all the time.
Well, to be fair, my younger brother doesn't have kids yet.
Oh. That's why he's on it all the time.
Well, sometimes when he's not on the job. He and I like to play it together when we get time to visit him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the other thing too, is that technically this whole arena style fighting are unreal, but the graphics are obviously more smooth for Halo.
Oh yeah. Even at the time, Halo looked so much better than a lot of other games while still operating really well.
The game that started the Xbox.
Major revolution in gaming. An odd balance of a lot of things. We went from
and the Xbox too had the shadow. The shadow casting that they showed, how even characters could have shadows on them, which wasn't in games before that.
Yeah. It's also a massive transitional period for FPS games, because you used to have just a health bar, and you could take cover, but it wasn't really like necessarily part of the game plan. And Halo was the transitional, like the bridge between old school shooter and like arcade shooters and modern day chest high wall gameplay.
Yeah. Not to mention just the size and scale of the maps we're in Halo. You can see it. Huge.
Yeah, there's a lot of simplicity in their design, which allowed for such massive arenas. Because this is like modern day Nintendo thinking. How do we get the most out of so little?
Right.
And with so little to render, Halo's gonna run pretty well.
Right. I also did enjoy the fact that you could, it was kind of OP in the same sense, because you have the scope on the 44 Magnum in the first game only.
Yeah, the Magnum's supposed to be super good. I can't attest to it because I haven't really played it enough to get used to the guns.
And it's fun. It's a higher resolution or polygonal version of the 44 Magnum you used in Marathon. The design's about the same.
Oh, okay.
Just that the Marathon 44 Magnum didn't have a scope on it. Well, you saw the scope, you couldn't use it. Actually, I'm going to go back to Marathon and show it how it's the same kind of Magnum 44. Oh.
Sure.
Okay. See the scope on the Magnum and the.
Oh yeah. It's also almost the same design on the Magnum too.
Yeah. More or less. So.
Is that the Raptor sound?
Yeah, they used a sound similar to the Raptor from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I thought I recognized that.
More or less. So, as we're finishing up, there were plenty of games that actually came first, but Halo really brought them all together into one.
Yeah, it took all the best elements, refined them, and bada bing, bada boom. There you go, Halo.
Yep. I think it was cool too when I first played Halo, because your enemies try to take cover as well. So that's a risky thing.
Yeah, the AI was definitely a lot more immersive. Not like other certain games like Perfect Dark, for example. Like the characters will hide, and they'll go and get new allies to join the fights, and a bunch of other things. Certainly, like the AI for Perfect Dark was much better than many games.
Right.
But not everybody took cover and ran. A lot of them all still operated on the, oh, look, there's the player. Let's descend upon them.
Or your enemies can jump in a vehicle, not just you. So your enemies,
Yeah.
You don't, like in the part where you're coming out in the snow in Combat Evolved, if you don't shoot the elite fast enough, he will jump inside the tank. But if you hit him in advance, you can't get it. So you have one less Wraith tank to worry about. At least one.
Gotcha.
And there's many cases in Combat Evolved where if you can at least hit the guy, they won't get in the vehicle. So you'll be okay. Whether it's Ghost, Wraith, Banshee, and so on.
Yeah, hell, that's old Mega Man X thinking, where you're running through Sigma's fortress and there's a pilot about to jump in that armor, and if you destroy the pilot, you can jump into the armor yourself and make that mission easier.
I just remember my part where I had to backtrack. I had to go back to the checkpoint because I walked down on the bridge for if I had a super weapon. I blew the guy away with a rocket launcher. Then I watched the whole Banshee fall out. It's like, oh, well, now I can't get to the control room.
Nice.
I blew up my ride. So hopefully this has been a great way to get started on our talk about Halo. Next week, we're going to talk about what we think is going to be the Switch 2. And 2025, start talking about whatever happened to films. So in the meantime, thank you everyone for watching. And this will be compiled into a 3-part on the Halo ones and talking about the Switch next week, or what we think the Switch 2 will be.
I got to do a bit more research on that, because I tend to forget the Switch 2 is even supposed to happen.
Right, but just think about what some of the better elements were from previous generations. For instance, I've taken a look back, and the say Nintendo Wii, there was crossover games and even on PlayStation, when you have generations of those, there was crossing over, and I think that was some of the better things that Nintendo and Sony did, is that there were games that worked for both. So, anyways, have a nice day, and see you all next time with the next episode of Whatever Happened to the Game.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Have a good day.
All right.
Hello, another episode of Whatever Happened to the Game, and today is Halo 2. Joining me from Illinois today is Albelio. Glad you could make it here.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for having me again.
Somewhat gruff, but yeah, I've been working on getting another super cut ready of these previous episodes, but other than that, it should be pretty good. Hope your Rings of Power reviews are going well.
Yeah, work really just picked up for me, so I'm really behind on a lot of things. I gotta squeeze out that Joker review today.
Oh yeah, and it happens. It happens. Today's a few things. So there's a Halloween sale, and happy Halloween to everyone who's watching, by the way. All Castlevania games on Steam are on Halloween sale until November 4th. 20% off the remastered collections, 80% off Lords of Shadow.
Nice.
Recommended controllers for PC gaming. Some games on Steam now require a controller by default. DualShock PS4, which is the one I have right now, it works pretty well, or DualSense, it's from the same company. They work well. You just need to have a Bluetooth, which is standard for PCs now. And for Xbox, the Xbox Series X/X, it work on PCs as well. Obviously, with given the maker of the Xbox, they would want to have compatibility there. Yeah, but which kind of controller do you normally prefer, Albelio? Do you use one for gaming on the PC or no?
Yeah, actually, Xbox. I got a 360 styled controller.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the modern Xbox Series kind of controller. That's what
right.
it is.
Right. I use a DualShock, which is PS4, but it still works pretty well. I mean,
Mhm.
Steam accepts it, and they definitely accept the Xbox controllers for most of their games now. So that's what was recommended here. Because I noticed that I was getting some of the games on sale that some of them asked me for a controller. So I just wanted to let everyone know PlayStation or Xbox ones work. Previously, we were talking about whatever will happen after the Nintendo Switch. We had a lot of fun with that one. Most of it became, okay, what kind of games do we want the Switch store to add after, if it keeps going, which it really should.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're going on to Halo 2 and whatever happened to Halo 2, because we were talking about up through Halo Combat Evolved last time. Wow. So this is a really brief recap. Oh, it was pretty fun learning about the various games that led up to Halo last week, or not last week, because last week we were talking about a Nintendo Switch, but the week before last week.
You're super quiet again.
Oh, again? Huh.
Yep.
Apparently I need to be close to my mic. That's odd. Really odd.
Yeah, it's okay. It'll get figured out eventually.
Oh yeah, I've got the new microphone, but I'm gonna have to reconfigure. But it's gonna take some time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it was the game that started up the Xbox, which is pretty great, and it was a new game for Bungie as the first time after they'd been acquired by Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
And it was revolutionary, as we talked about earlier, in terms of the AI for the enemies, the lighting and shadow. I believe Halo was one of the earliest times where characters cast their own shadow, and you could be in the shadow of another character, which is pretty cool.
It's also one of the few where you could actually see your own feet.
Oh yes, yeah. I think it was one of the first ones where you could. Oh, hi, hey Chaos. Thanks for letting me use your Xbox, brother. Thank you very much. It helped me with this presentation.
Hey, Chaos, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, that was great. So now I have to go I'm going to get to the next slide. I'm going to get to the other ones. File. But yeah, Halo 2 was released a few years later, late 2004, in the later part of the Xbox. And, oh.
You should walk around with a volume button attached to yourself.
I should. I really should. I really should. For now. Late 2004, first game to incorporate the Xbox Live service for multiplayer. So this is the beginning of how we got to consoles connecting to the internet. I mean, the previous one was where you could connect multiple Xboxes together rather than find each other on online rooms for Xbox Live, which is pretty cool in and of itself.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of I didn't do 1 and 2 with my buddies. I more so played Halo 3 with them. I never owned an Xbox growing up, so I always had to go over to them, and that was fun sitting down with like 12 of us having pizza parties, basically up all night. Just
yeah.
Basically me getting teabagged all night.
that was kind of what I was doing before I got married. It was, although that was not Halo 2, that was Halo Reach.
Mm.
On the night before we went to the place to go have our wedding the next day, I was hanging out at my friend's house, and he and I and the other guys there were just playing Halo that night.
Nice.
But a nice way to waste your last few hours of being single playing Halo.
Yeah, my old job at the gaming arcade, we used to occasionally have it was like maybe once or twice a year, and there was this really large group of guys that would all come in, and they had not just the systems and the controllers, but they had the old connective modems so that they could live connect everybody, and we would have like 20 guys come in, and they would just all day, all night, just play Halo for like that one day. We would just order pizza, and I would just watch these guys just annihilate each other all night, and it was hysterical because you'd hear them screaming at each other across the building. It's like, no, that was my kill. It was great. There were just Master Chief heads all over the place because that was the collection case that had that contained the game. It was just really funny.
Oh, yeah, Chaos. I mean, some of the new mechanics, and we're going to talk about it after we talk about the Flood, they were pretty interesting and made multiplayer gaming very intense. And I'm pretty sure that was the real main focus of Halo 2. I have to say, so yeah, as we're talking about, the Flood was originally used in Halo Combat Evolved. I don't feel they were completely unique. Well, they were unique in quantity because they're similar to the head crabs, as they're called in Half-Life. Although the quantity of infection forms, as you see in the bottom, in the middle, near the middle, the little infection forms that bite your head, those are far larger in swarms than the head crabs were in the Half-Life games.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, at that halfway point in the game, you find out, oh crap, there's the Flood. Hi, Lauren. I hope your new song that you're working on is going well. So this is Lauren. She does a lot. She's working on writing songs and plays guitar really well. So she's working on a new song. So I wish her the best of luck.
Yeah, good luck with that.
So yeah, you get introduced to the Flood in Halo, in the first Halo, but they add a little bit more to them when you see the Grave Mind. And he doesn't say he's the Flood, but what he's telling you to do, he's guilty of sin, incriminating himself.
Okay. Is the Grave Mind basically the Overmind for the Flood?
Okay, yes. Now the Flood is a sentient disease made of spores.
Okay.
And the way they work is it's actually worse and more horrifying than Xenomorphs and Dead Space vibes here, even though Halo came before Dead Space. They literally bite a person's head. The infection forms bite onto a person's brain, and that person becomes a zombie. Now, the zombies accumulate together to form more intelligent variants of the Flood. So there's the infection forms. A person bitten by an infection form to their head becomes a combat form. And now a combat form can add a large number of infection forms, and they become what is called a carrier. A carrier walks up to somebody and explodes, which damages you from the explosion, plus they release many infection forms to infect and bite people. The Grave Mind is basically many in combat forms all coming together to make one big form. They don't reveal it to you. They reveal it to you bits and pieces that tell you, okay, the Grave Mind cannot be a good guy. He wants me to disable Halo, and he's holding me like a hostage. Like you can see here, one of them is the Master Chief. The other character is the playable Arbiter, and he has them. And he's telling him what to do. So, I mean, the fact that he captures you, it's a guilty as sin, incriminating giveaway that he is with the Flood.
Okay.
But the Flood, it's a disease with sentience that accumulates into more and more, and it becomes more and more intelligent. And as we're going to go into newer mechanics, we're going to talk about, okay, these Flood are getting worse and worse. So, but first we're going to, now weapons. This is where I'm going to talk about. I have my likes and dislikes with them and what they did with Halo 2. So, I mean, you've played some of the multiplayer for Halo 2, right?
Very, very little.
Okay.
I haven't even. I have been. I'm so busy. I haven't been able to do a thing, dude.
That's
I
fine.
I never even got around to finishing.
That's fine.
The
I
first Halo.
I felt it was great that they gave the Covenant a more complete set of weapons. I mean, they had some of them in the previous one, but now the Covenant has their own equivalent of a sniper rifle. They have their own version of you could use the fuel rod gun. I mean, you could do it in Halo Combat Evolved multiplayer with a fuel rod gun, but you can use it as a weapon in the single player campaign now. But I didn't like what they did by taking away the assault rifle from Halo Combat Evolved and giving you the battle rifle. I mean, it felt to me like an attempt to ape up on Battlefield games, ape up on Delta Force from the other game developers at the time.
Okay.
Because in Rainbow Six, Delta Force, or Battlefield, you could have scoped guns which fire small bursts. The small burst was annoying because with the assault rifle, as you may have noticed, you can just fire a continuous burst to keep them suppressed so that they can't move or respond to you.
Mm-hmm.
And with the battle rifle, you have limited accuracy, and you already still have the sniper rifle to shoot long range. So a distance burst is not really as good as what you got with the 44 Magnum scoped previously. So you're firing bursts at a distance like the earlier shooters did with a scope.
Okay.
I didn't like that much. I was okay because I didn't really use the pistol scope, the 44 Magnum scope as much in the original Halo, but I don't know. Now the craziest one was that they gave a heat-seeking mode in Halo 2 to the rocket launcher.
Okay.
So if you aimed at a vehicle, it would lock on, and you could fire a heat-seeking rocket that could follow the tank or even the flying Banshee if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Halo 2 is where the Needler was like super overpowered, right?
In a way, it was, because the Needler was a single-handed weapon. I mean, it was already pretty powerful in Halo Combat Evolved, but you can use a Needler in one hand and another single-handed weapon like pistol, SMG, or a plasma pistol in the other.
Mm-hmm.
So since you can dual wield, use one-handed weapons in each hand and use different ones in each hand, because previous dual wields were just like, okay, use two of the same weapon in different hands, but now you can use a different weapon in each hand as long as they're both single-handed. So basically, you could do an overcharged plasma pistol, fire a Needler after that, and the target's basically gone.
Wow. All right.
Because the Needler is a single-handed weapon.
I'm surprised no other game like did this where you could dual wield different weapons.
Well,
the only one that comes to mind is like Skyrim, and it's terrible.
Right. I don't know. I feel that for a lot of those games, it was just a simple thing. It's just like you got two of the same weapon. Why do we really care?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's more complex in Halo because you can combine different single-handed weapons. Now, the one thing it does have a drawback to wielding two different weapons is that you don't have the other hand to throw a grenade with. So, yes, you don't. While you have the two single-handed weapons, you can't use grenades, but until you drop one.
Mm-hmm.
But later, as we'll find out in Halo 3, they changed it so that there was a separate heat-seeking missile launcher or a Stinger in Halo 3. And there was the regular rocket launcher that was used more for just surface vehicles because it didn't have the maneuverability anymore with the rockets you launched. But in Halo 2, they basically turned it into a Javelin or Stinger all in one.
Okay.
So it got it's crazy in multiplayer because, being in a vehicle used to be a good advantage in, say, Blood Gulch or Coagulation Canyon map where you're in the outdoors and you could fly or use a Warthog in that same map multiplayer. But now they can use a heat-seeking missile to hit you in a vehicle.
Oh, that's horrifying.
It is. I mean, it added a challenge to the multiplayer games, and we'll watch a little bit of the regular footage now, but
Sure.
yeah.
You are one of our most treasured instruments. Have you led your fleet with honor
So
and distinction?
this is the Arbiter. He was an elite that was not named, obviously, in the first Halo, but because of the first Halo being blown up, he got demoted by the Covenant for failing to stop the destruction of the Halo, because they think it's a sacred religious temple.
Hmm.
No, you will not. Soon the great journey shall begin.
So they take away his golden armor,
But when it does,
which was the highest ranking elite you met in the first game.
and you shall be left behind.
And you know, it's funny because the prophets, the guys with the hats,
Mhm.
they sound a lot like someone else from earlier Bungie games as well,
Oh, okay.
like Myth. But this
I'm
goes
sure
back to
assets and voice actors and whatnot were used.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I'm using this in the original graphics, not the anniversary graphics.
Yeah, I heard the original graphics are creepier. Like there's a because of the shadows, they lit everything too much in the remake.
Yeah, there's glare, but if you look at this, it's it's a lot like the revolution of light and shadow that you got in Doom 3.
Okay.
So you can see the shadows on the sergeant who's giving you the weapons in the armory right here.
Hmm.
And if you aren't blocked, you see that he's casting a shadow too.
Yeah, I like how soft that shadowing is. It's a little harsh at points, but I think it looks fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have seen pictures. Maybe it was Halo 1 I'm thinking of, because these guys had like it's like they go into the room and it's dark and it's actually kind of scary because you can't see the enemies except the glow of the weapons. And then they switched over to the modern updated graphics and it's just you see everything and there's no scare.
Right. Right. I mean, it's this. I don't know if I guess you call it an uncanny valley for when they just make it too high resolution. If you know what I mean, where it's just so beyond. It's so detailed that it starts to look fake
Yeah.
or plastic, as I like to call it.
Yeah, plastic, rubbery, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Rivel Staller. I'll take a look at that trailer later today. Thanks for catching that, Rivel Stalin. Rivel Star. Boys, I'll catch it later today. Thanks. I did like Avery Johnson for the degree of tension relief he offered in this game. How'd you survive?
This is the commander from the first one, right?
Yeah, he's the sergeant from the first one. Yeah, he's still alive. It's
Gotcha.
like, how'd you survive? That's classified, son.
Yeah, if that isn't the most direct, like we don't even know.
Well, it's funny because if you complete Combat Evolved on Legendary really in enough time with left on the timer, you'll see a joke video cinematic of Sergeant Johnson struggling with an elite. And then they look and see the Halo falling apart, and they just go, "Oh no, we're gone."
Is it true that one of the Halo games has a like a super secret ending where Master Chief, because I've seen the like meme video, I just don't know if it's real, where Chief takes off his helmet and he just has another helmet.
It's a joke, but Halo games, if you beat it on the highest difficulty, they have their own special joke endings for you beating the highest difficulty.
Oh, so it is real. That's funny.
So yeah, So basically, if you haven't figured out already, you play as 2 different characters in this game.
Hmm.
You play as the Elite or the Arbiter, and you play as the Master Chief in the same one.
Yeah, because I remember everybody wanting to use the elites in 3, and if you
Yeah,
like I used the elites in 3, you were an idiot.
yeah, Chaos. My little brother, that's correct. You get a secret ending if you beat it on the highest difficulty. So, like, did you finish the one on Reach? Did you finish it on Reach with the highest?
I do like the parallel storytelling where Chief is getting praised and Arbiter's being stripped. Bruce Willis.
It's Ron Perlman, the only good Hellboy out there.
he looks like Bruce. Oh, it's Agent 47. He's got a tattoo and all.
Oh yeah.
Sergeant Major, the Colonial Cross is awarded for acts of singular daring and devotion. For a soldier of the United Earth Space Corps, there can be no greater heresy. Let him be an example for all who would break our covenant.
The grunt standing on top of the grunt.
Okay. I might catch up to you sometime when I've got the time, Chaos.
Commander Miranda Keyes, your father's actions were in keeping with the highest traditions of military service.
So, in case you didn't know, Valhio, you're just the soldier they need you to be. Is the lowest difficulty on Reach.
The Navy has lost one of its best.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So he's poking fun at me at least a bit because I haven't really played it yet.
Mm.
Ouch. And even though this is 2004 graphics, I felt that.
Slip space ruptures directly off our battle cluster.
Show me.
15 Covenant capital ships holding position.
Yeah, you know these graphics still hold up pretty well.
They do. And you can play as them too in the Anniversary Edition if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Link up with the fleet.
Yes, sir.
You have the mech gun, Cortana. As soon as they come in range, open up.
Gladly.
The other thing I enjoyed so much when you go down to Earth is that there's new variants of the Warthog, not in multiplayer.
Oh, is there?
So you get a railgun Warthog in this one when you go down to down to Kenya. This is the future. You basically go down to what is Kenya, the African nation Kenya in the future. Because like it says, Cairo, it's in orbit above Egypt. Cairo station is anyway. But as we'll find out more in Halo 3, they are going with the whole story of Noah's Ark and the idea that it all started in Africa, which is fine. That's it's just interesting. So basically, is that there's this, it's like Prometheus, the Aliens prequels, where there's this different story of what we heard in the Bible, only it's a sci-fi story version of what actually happened, if that makes any sense. Like,
yeah, no, I'm following.
So Halo is a type of way of saying, yes, Noah's Ark was a story, but it was the actual reality was it was an interstellar, intergalactic sci-fi story with the Ark. But yeah, this is the beginning of the Master Chief missions, and I'm gonna, before we get too far, I'm gonna go into the Arbiter mission, actually. But yeah, just like the previous one, you start on the station. And yes, they're so we're going to go into more other mechanics that were new, stealing vehicles. So you press the right button in this game, and you get close enough to a vehicle, which isn't easy, because you could still be hit or run over by, say, a Warthog or a tank. You can steal a vehicle, like grab the guy who's driving it, pull him out, and now it's yours.
Mm-hmm.
You can do this with just about anything, even a Banshee. So back when Halo 2 was out, people were boasting, and you kind of had a right to boast about the fact that, hey, I hijacked a Banshee coming right at me, because that's hard to do. You have to actually jump up precisely at the Banshee coming down at you and hit the button at the right moment so you can grab the guy, pile in the Banshee, pull him out, and now the Banshee's yours.
Okay.
Kind of like Grand Theft Auto. And it made multiplayer pretty fun, at least with the warthogs and such.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine.
So it's a little more complicated with tanks, because you actually have to put a grenade into the tank to eliminate the crew. But you can actually drive the Wraith tank that you saw in the original Halo now. And of course, they had the drones, or flying Covenant soldiers, which I'm going to try and catch the first time you see them in Halo 2. I thought, because you're going down a conveyor belt and you first meet them flying like dragonflies and shooting at you. But I felt they were a good addition to what the Covenant has from before. So that's a drone, not a jackal, but he was in a distance and it's hard to see his wings.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? The conveyor belt's the best time to actually see him.
That dude just cartwheel into the guy you just stuck with a plasma grenade.
Yeah. Oh, there's a drone. Oh no. Is that a... Oh, he clipped his wings.
Oh, gotcha.
So some at a distance you can think they're elites, but you'll notice they have the 4 wings, like a fly, like a butterfly or something.
Yeah, I did notice. Looks a lot like the I know they're not exactly wings, but they look like the space pirate, the flying, the arrow pirates from Metroid.
Yeah, they do. Whoa. Yeah, so the drones. And now I think the other crazy part is the Covenant has what's called a scarab. It's a big walker, like a beetle, and it's enormous, quite enormous. I'm gonna find that file for a minute.
Didn't do a thing.
So this is when you're actually on Earth after you landed, but the scarab was a crazy thing that they added to this one.
You hit Marine? No, sir. Then listen up. When I joined the Corps, we didn't have any fancy schmancy tanks. We had sticks, 2 sticks and a rock for a whole platoon, and we had to share the rock. Buck up, boy. You're one very lucky Marine.
What about that?
We've all run the simulation. Tough, but they ain't
This is the walk up the hill with a boner in the snow kind of speech.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what the ladies like.
Yeah, where would Halo be without Johnson?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that right there was the scarab.
Okay.
That
I actually remember this fight across the bridge.
Yeah, you have to jump off the bridge onto the thing and land on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, my cousins were big into Halo, and I remember watching, trying to figure out how to beat the scarab. It took forever.
Okay.
They would use the faith of our forefathers to bring ruin to us all. The great
Oh.
journey is a
This heretic and those who follow him.
All right, so this is the elite part of the game, the parallel stories. So
Okay.
I just wanted to get a little bit into this one before we get too lost with just the Master Chief part.
Must be silenced.
Their slander offends all.
What use am I? I can no longer command ships, lead troops into battle.
Not as you are, but become the Arbiter.
Yeah, my greatest disappointment was with all the hype you get for the Arbiter in this game. You don't really get to play as him unless it's co-op in Halo 3.
Mm.
I mean, it makes more sense than having two Master Chiefs to play co-op, but yeah, he doesn't really get his own campaign in the third one.
You must undertake as the arbiter are perilous, suicidal.
It's interesting how small and frail he actually is, because when you see him in the armor, he's just huge.
Yeah. That armor really works at making him look cute, making him look intimidating, that's for sure. None of that, it's just the metallic texture of the armor just looks, what should I say?
What would you have your arbiter do?
It just looks a lot lifeless or unreal, just how they textured that armor.
When we join the Covenant,
It's all. It also makes me chuckle because he's got to have some serious dry mouth.
the blood of our fathers,
Oh yeah, from the mandibles.
Yeah, because they don't close. It's not like Predator.
Right.
those who would break this oath are heretics, worthy of neither pity nor mercy. Even now, they use our Lord's creation to broadcast their lives. We shall grind them into dust and continue our march to glorious salvation.
So this is from Halo 1, and spoiler alert, the ring does get broken apart. But this is near the wreckage where some of the Covenant are no longer going along with their plan and are called heretics.
Oh, okay.
And I also kind of like how the regular elites have the silver, the golden armor, and the Arbiter has the dark purple, dark, blackish armor as a contrast.
I also have different styles of armor. I noticed that the Arbiter has the piece that comes down and covers over the mouth, and then the guy he was talking to only has armor on the mandibles, but not over the face.
Yeah. So yeah, he can also wield the energy sword that the elites use from Combat Evolved in this game, even as the chief.
And we shall quell this heresy without incident.
So yeah, this is a mining station near the original Halo ring. You're fighting other Covenant, so this is, I guess it's also a first. I mean, it's your Covenant fighting Covenant.
Oh, okay. Is the energy sword just as absurd as it is in 3?
More or less. You can do the leap attack in both games, or if you keep aiming at somebody, you can hit a button to do a jump attack where you jump up to the guy and get him with the sword. So if you know how to crouch sneak, which is kind of primitive, because just because you're crouching doesn't mean you're sneaky, but that's how this game works.
Yeah, especially with how big you are as the Arbiter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Many hours went into zombie mode.
Oh my. So yes, you have, unlike the chief has the flashlight, you have a camouflage, but it only works for a limited time. And as the Arbiter, you cannot pick up regular active camouflage power-ups.
Okay.
So this is the carbine. It's the opposite of the battle rifle because it's a plasma rifle that fires in bursts for the Covenant. And I didn't entirely agree with having a mirror image for both sides, but I don't know. It's still a technical improvement of the first Halo.
There's only so many combinations you can do with anything, since it's all based on our tech, and then we have to like make stuff up.
Right.
It's one of the reasons I really enjoy Perfect Dark. It's because there's so many. Like, there are plenty of weapons that all do like the same kind of things, but the types of weapons and their secondaries are just so cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that isn't horrifying. Seeing a giant energy sword glowing and it's just floating there because of the Arbiter's cloaked.
Yeah. But I do feel that you can also play as elites in multiplayer as well. Now, starting with this game, so you're not just playing Spartans in multiplayer maps.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they did the red versus blue, showing the alien that said Blarg.
Yeah. We were my lady and I we were in our the Discord with our buddies, and I had never like really sat down to play Halo 1, and so we were playing this, and I just cranked it up to legendary, and the whole time I'm like ironically making jokes about like the quality of the game and everything. just to piss her off because she loves Halo.
Well, that's fine.
and we were playing, and one of my buddies was in the chat with us, and I said, "Honey, of course I know what I'm talking about. I know Halo. I've watched Blue versus Red," and just instantly, the dude's just no, no, God, I have never gotten so violently angry by that fast before.
Then, I'm gonna skip to near the end. Oh, it's Sentinels.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is the crazy one. So you have this extra long dogfighting part, you against other Banshees.
Okay.
But you have to fly to a certain point, and if you lose your Banshee, you're in big trouble. Because you'll fall into the gas giant. Basically, if Luke was not caught by the Falcon, this is what would happen to him. Is if he fell, but...
Gotcha.
Thankfully, I got another Banshee.
Yeah, you can barrel roll. That's nice.
Yes, you can. That gives you a chance of avoiding heat-seeking missiles if someone does that to you, but it doesn't always work, but it's better than nothing.
Gotcha.
Ouch.
Oh, like those?
Yeah, that was a fuel rod gun.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
And in this same mission, the grunts have fuel rod guns. See, you saw the grunt right there. He's got a fuel rod gun, so you gotta try and hit him without him shooting you with it.
Gotcha.
Those grunts can shoot you, man. Oh. Can't believe I didn't see the grunts. Whatever.
Yeah, it happens.
Not to mention, Martin O'Donnell had some great new music for this game. I got the album for it, actually. This is one of my favorite songs in the game right here. Perfectly matches with flying around over a bottomless pit.
Well, it's definitely upbeat, especially for a dogfight like this.
Oh yeah. Oh, ouch.
Way to scratch the paint.
Yeah. You too. Oh, right.
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a nice sequel. Long waited, and the last Halo for the regular Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Yeah,
also,
and
I
then
guess I
that-
forgot, it's where they started using the ODSTs or hell jumpers. And they got their own little spin-off for Halo 3 ODST.
Yeah, that was Nathan Fillion, right?
Yep. Yep. So coming up next, whatever happened to the Halo movies. So we're going to try watching some of these and giving a little bit of our thoughts on them. They should be pretty fun. And yes, they made movies about Halo. Halo Legends, Fall of Reach, and Forward Unto Dawn. There's also Nightfall, but I'll see if that's available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will definitely try to make the time. No guarantees.
I only expect one of them anyways. I mean, I was going to see Fall of Reach.
Okay.
Or
isn't that just Reach though? Like the game?
It's before Reach. So it's all the events that happened before Reach happened.
Oh, okay.
And there were books for it. Although I'll let you know. I'm also thinking of watching Forward Into Dawn because that's actually the live action
first
Halo.
one.
First live action one.
Okay.
Forward Into Dawn was 2012. Legends was 2010. Fall of Reach was 2011.
Okay.
So Forward Unto Dawn was to promote Halo 4 when it actually came out.
Oh, gotcha. I could have sworn Forward Into Dawn was the first movie they made.
It's the first live action one.
Gotcha.
It's not animated like Halo Legends is. Actually, Forward Unto Dawn features Canadian actor Daniel Cudmore, and they filmed it in Canada for about $15 million as a web series. But then they put it together into a video. So it's Daniel Cudmore as in the suit as the Master Chief. Like you remember the Colossus from the old Fox X-Men movies? That's him.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So next week is whatever happened to the Halo movies. It should be pretty fun. And I want to say happy Halloween.
Yeah. Have a good spooktacular, everyone, and stay safe.
I'm looking forward to your next Rings of Power one.
I definitely will be getting right back to it as soon as this Joker review is done.
All right. I'll see that too. Anyways, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next week for the Halo movies.
Yeah. Have a good day, everybody.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Adrian Fahrenheit Tepes here, and this is another episode of Whatever Happens to the Game. And today we're talking a little bit more about Halo. We are talking about the Halo movies that came as a spin-off to the actual games. And a lot of these were promotional material for the games, and some of them were supplemental. And some of them, like Halo Legends, I enjoy quite a bit as an example, similar to the Animatrix, where they take together a number of animated episodes that range from parody to actual story events between the games, and which I very much enjoy. And there's also Halo: The Fall of Reach, which is a prequel to the original Halo Combat Evolved. Now, as we go on. I first want to just talk about the news of what is coming up over on my channel. So later this afternoon, I'm going to be going live with Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I'll also be playing next week. I'll be going to Skies of Arcadia. And December, I am going to be going live with Lord of the Rings gameplay. December was the traditional month in which Lord of the Rings games, or not games, but rather the Lord of the Rings films came out in theaters. And so to celebrate Lord of the Rings, I still do, as a fan of Lord of the Rings myself, I'm going to be continuing playing the games each December live stream. So if you enjoy Lord of the Rings, I'm going to go and play those games, and it's going to be pretty fun. But later today, I'm going to be playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Now, this little thumbnail I have for Symphony of the Night, I was inspired to make it based on the VHS cover for the Star Wars film Return of the Jedi. As you can see right here, you have Alucard on the right, like you had Luke on the right with his lightsaber. It's Alucard with his sword. Just like you had Leia in the center, although a little less revealing in her attire. There's Maria Renard. And I have Dracula's face positioned similar to how Darth Vader's face was positioned on the cover, as well as Castlevania, the titular castle of Count Dracula in the background. So I'm going to be going and drawing up. I'm going to be drawing up the VHS cover that inspired this. Actually, I have it right here. Let's see right here. Okay, I'm going to get this thing up. Here. So here you can see it, Return of the Jedi. So that's what inspired me to go do this Symphony of the Night thumbnail. But I'm not going to be staying too long on what's coming up next before I go into what I'm going to be showing for the Halo films. So right here, I'm just going to say I recommend the following controllers for PC gaming. I need to update this a little bit because apparently the Nintendo Switch controllers also work as well. But so far, the DualShock or DualSense brand of PlayStation controllers for PS4, they work just great. And so does Xbox controllers for Series S and X. Welcome, Albelio. I know I get started already, but welcome, and welcome. So I'm on recommending my controllers, and I didn't miss anything from the main part. I was talking about how I got my idea for the Symphony of the Night thumbnail from the Return of the Jedi VHS cover.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Actually, I can go back a slide and show it to you here. So I don't know if you knew about the 1990 VHS cover for Return of the Jedi, but everything's the way it is. So I have Dracula where Darth Vader was supposed to be, the castle of Count Dracula, or Castlevania in the middle, like the Death Star. Maria where Leia.
Oh, I see it. I see the design. Okay.
Yeah. So. I don't blame you. It's been a busy week. So here we are. Previously, we had Whatever Happened to Halo 2. And Ezra Albello, he recently came out with his review and analysis of Joker Folie à Deux. So I feel it's one of your better ones you've come up with in video form. So good job.
Yeah, thank you. It's funny because like I actually had to kind of butcher the review, and a lot of people were like, "This is probably your best analysis yet," and I'm like, I actually thought it was kind of crap. was
Yeah,
just me.
yeah. I mean, I think when you have your interview, which I've given some time for us to do next week. Next week's going to be a premiere, and for the time slot of this podcast, I've collected our episodes where we talked about the video game crash. We talked about what comes after Nintendo Switch, and that is what we'll be playing as a premiere. So that frees us up time for you to ask me some questions about Nocturne.
Gotcha. And I was thinking Thursday, by the way.
Yeah, Thursday's our perfect time.
Okay.
So yeah, we were talking about Halo 2 last week, and yes, here's the big thing: is that there have been movies made about Halo for quite some time, and we're going to be talking about them today. It's been a busy last week, so I didn't watch all of them. I didn't get to finishing Nightfall. I did finish Forward Unto Dawn and Legends, but that was about it for me. I've read the comics or novel about Reach partway through, so I feel that I'd be mostly familiar with what Halo: The Fall of Reach would be animated wise. And unlike our game reviews, there's copyright issues for the video footage from these movies.
Oh, I'm sure.
No, with Warner Brothers for the Legends and for Microsoft Xbox copyright issues for the other ones. So, so yes, there were, and we're not including Red versus Blue, although I think Red versus Blue is pretty funny as a parody of playing Halo multiplayer. But
I was basically just quoting it the whole time my lady and I were watching Forward Unto Dawn. Because he pulls up in the Warthog, and I was like, oh, a puma.
Yeah, and that's the cool part we're going to talk about, is that they actually made that Warthog for the movie. They made a vehicle that was built like a Warthog for the actual film, which I think is pretty cool.
I did appreciate the practical effects where they were.
Yeah. I mean, even the CGI was pretty good. You got to consider this was a $10 million budget series that was filmed in 1 month in Canada. Like they did all the whatever special effects work they did. They used the local university in Vancouver. They used some CGI from I forget what the effects studio is, and all that for $10 million, plus the actors they hired for it.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And it was actually you've probably heard of Weta, right? They worked on the Avatar films. They did the CGI for Forward Unto Dawn.
Oh, okay.
But the first one, which I've seen most of these so far, was Halo Legends. So this is the one I actually have on home video. I have the DVD for it. I feel like I should have gotten the Blu-ray instead, but oh well. It still works. So this was a collaboration between a number of between animation studios from the United States, Germany, and Japan to make all these separate short animated episodes.
Yeah, you said this was basically Enter the Matrix.
Not you mean Animatrix? Yes, this is the Animatrix.
Yeah.
But I do love the Enter the Matrix video game. It just took me a lot of money to buy Enter the Matrix because it was years after the fact for the PlayStation 2. And obviously it's a lot less common when you get years later. Although I recommend waiting a few months after it released if you want to save money on buying a game. Yeah, don't buy it on launch because games on launch these days are, well, I'll stop this tangent. Okay.
All good.
So Origins is after Halo 3 when Cortana is bored out of her mind, so she's just writing and narrating what happened as she found in the archives of the Halo. So this is how the Flood, the Halos are made, the Forerunners, the Precursors, and so on. It's an origin story, 2 parts, 20 minutes combined, about a little more than 20 minutes, almost half hour for those 2 episodes, and I feel it's one of the best episodes because it's a blend of CGI and illustration, and they do it very well.
Okay.
How they blend the two. Now, this is so the order I show you right here is how it was ordered in the Blu-ray. So it's not that way on my DVD. That's the order of the episodes.
Okay.
But Odd One Out is the one that isn't really considered canon. It's more of a self-parody of Halo, where you have L337. No, not the Them droid from Solo, but Leet is the Spartan that's a complete parody on Master Chief because he's incompetent but lucky.
Okay, so he's sort of like Domino from Marvel.
Domino, yeah, from Deadpool. Yeah, she is Marvel. I keep thinking Deadpool 2 because obviously she was in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's incompetent, but he survives because he's just ridiculously lucky.
Good parody on the lore accurate Halo Master Chief. Those videos are always crazy to see.
Yeah. So that is Halo Legends. We could talk again more about it later if you see it. And Halo Legends, the good thing is it's on YouTube as a free movie right now.
Mm-hmm.
So next one, Forward Unto Dawn. This is the one we actually got around to seeing completely.
Yeah, the effects and everything impressed me because I didn't for this age from 2012, they didn't look too bad. The acting was fine. I didn't expect the girl from Narnia. That one threw me off.
I was okay. I thought yeah, but I did enjoy parts of it at times. It felt slow, for the first half when they're at the academy.
Mm-hmm.
But it picked up in the second half when they finally, meet the Covenant. And
yeah, when because of how critical I'm at, I am, especially at this point in my life. I was just watching it and I would just pause it every 5 or 10 minutes. I'm just like, what's going on? This is ridiculous.
Right.
I
mean, it's
because
when the first half and it's slow, but
yeah.
But once they get into the second half where they're under attack, that's when the tone really picks up. That's
the tone shifts and the quality tanks.
Yeah.
Because there were so many moments where I was just like, stop talking, shut up, you're all dead, it's already over, there's no way this dude's not paying attention to them yapping and screaming in the room. And yeah, it was kind of frustrating. But at the end, there was also one little detail that just got under my skin, and I'm sure they just ran out of time on something, but Chief didn't have a neck guard. I don't know if you happen to catch this. He either had nothing and they just painted his neck, or he had super thin spandex.
So
he's bent over. He's bent over. I think it's the friend that gets shot with the needler in the arm or in the leg, and then he looks up and he's like, he's injured, and I was like, is that your jugular?
Yeah, I was slightly confused when you found out I guess they didn't quite. I guess they skipped around a bit when I found out the girl got shrapnel in her, and she was gonna die. And it was like, wait, when did that happen?
Oh, and when she got shot, I was confused about that too because I didn't see a needler, and all of a sudden she's got a shard in her, and she didn't pop like the.
I thought it was
command
shrapnel.
girl.
I thought it was shrapnel because if that's the case, that's slightly realistic, I guess, because explosions do have shrapnel. Like if when bullets hit things, you can have shattered bits, or explosions, you can have shattered bits. But I don't know. I was a little confused.
Well, so the way it happens is they're in the Puma and they're driving along, and you got Chief in the back. Also, I like you're absolutely right on the dude being Chief. It was awesome to see him being 7.5 feet tall or whatever he's supposed to be compared to the rest of the guys.
Right.
Because I'm glad they got that right.
Daniel Cudmore is like 6'10". He's huge. I mean, you probably recognize him from the early Fox X-Men movies.
Yeah, the X-Men. Yeah. You
But
mentioned
they
before.
literally they took Dan, they had him get measured, and they did a 3D print for the helmet and armor plates to match up to his height.
Okay.
So that's how they made the armor suit. They didn't ask Stephen Downes, who does the voice of Chief in the games. They asked for Alexander Puccinelli. I'm not familiar with him, but he was the actual voice in this case.
Gotcha. Well, nonetheless, so that situation, it's like they're in the Puma and they're driving, and they're all firing in the different directions, and then the main guy's trying to drive it, and I didn't recognize any Needler. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention, but somehow she in the front seat underneath the armor, and then she ends up getting shot out of nowhere.
Right.
And
I mean,
it didn't even.
It's true that you could have crossfire, but I don't know.
Yeah, and not only that, I was also confused because needlers explode, right? Like the shell.
The needle is essentially a type of bullet with plasma inside of it that first embeds inside the target, then explodes. It's like an anti-tank artillery shell.
Okay, because
smaller scale.
Gotcha, because they during the invasion, which I thought was pretty well executed overall, since they all get annihilated. But the commanding officer, the girl that had the woman who hands him the get out of jail free start, she gets annihilated and then just pops, and I'm just like, oh, that's what those do. And then you fast forward to
she's from the Netflix Marvel as Kingpin's wife, and she's also Superman's mom in Man of Steel.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because she falls over with like a dozen needlers rounds in her, and then she explodes. And then you get fast forward to the end where Narnia chick got shot in the chest with a needler round, and she didn't pop. And I was like, oh, that's oddly inconsistent, but okay.
Yeah, I did feel that some parts did a better job than what you get in being convincing than the game mechanics. I mean, obviously there wouldn't be much of a game if the elites didn't show their swords when they're camouflaged. But in the film, the convincing part was the elite turned off his energy sword when he was cloaked or camouflaged, so he could get up to people and take them out.
Mm-hmm.
That and the detail of how he temporarily uncamouflaged when he stepped in the puddle of water.
There were a lot of really good little effects that added to everything overall. But there were some where it's just like we just don't have the budget. We just have to do what we have. Like when the guy hands Chief the frag grenade and he just kind of like punches straight in and just clips through the chest of the oblique of the hunter, and I was just like, okay,
put it in his back. I mean, and at that point, I'm wondering, okay, how much have they actually met the Covenant now? Because this is supposed to be when Lasky, who's the starship captain you run into at the beginning of Halo 4, he's supposed to be 20 years younger at that point.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess I'd have to look at the timeline that they have it for Xbox, but. So Chief is supposed to be 20 years younger, and they're probably first meeting the Covenant. So how much would he know about a hunter in terms of stuffing a grenade up its back and run it and jumping off of it?
That is something that I was very confused by, because like my lady likes Halo, but she's not like super knowledgeable of it like I am with like World of Warcraft or something. I'm confused on the timeline because the opening made it seem like this was way further down the timeline because it's supposed to be like before 4, but 4 is
Okay.
later
At
in the
the
series. Like,
early around the middle point where Cortana's talking to Chief when he's frozen, when they do the CGI Cortana, that's like in the present time. But the other part is supposed to be 20 years in the past, back when Lasky was still at the Naval Academy with the other cadet.
and so real quick, present time here is between is like
After
right
Halo
before
3.
Halo. Okay. Okay. It's after 3. Okay. Thank you. I'm just trying to clarify this because I was really lost in like some of the visual storytelling that they did in the opening.
Right.
Because I was like, why is Cortana here? Like she's not supposed. She's dead, right?
Right. So Cortana's only a few years old. Because in hi Josh, how are you doing?
Welcome. How you doing?
So in Halo, like AIs only live to be less than 10 years old. They burn out. So Cortana.
Oh, okay.
Cortana went online, like literally barely before combat evolved. Like that is like she's nearing the end of her life at the end of 3.
Gotcha. Okay.
So when she's talking about like I can't keep holding on, and this is the thing I dislike about 343 is that they totally went inconsistent and say, oh no, don't worry, Halo Cortana didn't get it old and die. It's like, yeah, right. Stop giving me member berries.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't hold this against the show. Like this is like just my lack of knowledge going into it. So I'm just confused by a lot of it because I just don't know Halo.
Okay. No, it's fine. I mean, I'm not the most thorough person on it, but I at least tried to read some things about what I was going into first. But this is essentially what they released before Halo 4, earlier in 2012.
Okay.
So, but yeah, okay. So I'm going to correct this too. So Weta built the Warthog vehicle they used in the movie.
Yes.
That Legacy Effects did the CGI for Cortana and the other parts of the film. So that was I got it mixed up. So Weta built the actual car they were driving around, and that Legacy Effects did the CGI. Okay. Now this Halo Nightfall, I'm only about halfway through it, so I come back to it later.
Sure.
But this is what they released before Halo 5. They wanted to make it as a start to the Halo series, but we all know how that got delayed, and then Paramount picked up the actual series years later. So this only ended up becoming a prelude to Halo 5, which I could spend a whole time talking about my beef with Halo 5 and how it seemed to contradict what came before.
Oh, don't you mean the greatest Spartan of all time, Locke?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay, but this is where we introduced Locke, and you see he's Mike Coulter. You met from Luke Cage or from Men in Black 3. Yeah, he did Locke, but this is back when he's an intelligent work. Hey, Josh, good luck at your work. It's important, man. We'll have this as you can watch the live stream later, and this will be a premiere for the Halo things that I'll put together later, okay?
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, buddy. Have a good day.
So, yeah, I mean, it's Locke, but I mean, the big thing to me is that they went back, like, they didn't let Cortana die. It's just like, really? That's a tension killer. I mean, part of what made Halo 4 was Cortana was reaching the end of her life. And then they said, oh, no, she's not really dead. Like, oh, come on.
Yeah, because doesn't she go nuts at the end of 4?
She's going nuts because her hardware and her programming is degrading. AI
Yeah.
and Halo only have a limited life of around 7 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
They have a very short life, and when they're reaching the end of their life, they're basically becoming insane.
Yeah, because she goes nuts and like summons this like fleet and like attacks everybody, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
Yeah, because I remember my ex best friend is a huge Halo guy, and he's never returned a game before because he likes physical media as well. He actually returned Halo 4. He was like, you don't understand how bad it is. And I was like, oh, okay.
Right. And I mean, and I do have Halo 4s for the Master Chief Collection, but just the fact that they brought back Cortana, it's like, really? You just diffused the tragedy and you diffused the tension that we had in 4. Like, what's going on?
Mm.
It's like Uncle Rico not letting go of the past.
Okay.
Sorry, you probably don't know what I mean by Uncle Rico, do you?
Nope.
It's a random, relatively innocent teenage comedy called Napoleon Dynamite, set in Idaho. And Uncle Rico is the annoying uncle who can't get over the fact that he needs to find a different job because he wasn't going to make it into pro football. Anyway, that's Uncle Rico.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought you were referencing something in Halo. I was like, oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, so I remember when Napoleon Dynamite came out, and I never watched it. I had no interest.
It's fine. Not everyone would. But I made a joke about it this year when people asked me, it's like, who would I vote for? I voted for Pedro Sanchez. Because did the class, because he was in the Napoleon Dynamite, he's the class president at the high school, Pedro Sanchez. So that was my other joke.
Gotcha. I do remember all those shirts.
So yeah, going into this, I'm part of the way through, and so far they found a piece of installation 04, which is the ring you're on in Halo Combat Evolved. So, but
Okay.
and it's also weird because there's apparently some kind of virus that the Covenant made that doesn't kill Covenant species. So I don't know. I'm going to find out what the rest of it turns out to be as I finish it.
Okay.
Like the other ones, Nightfall is also available on YouTube, just like Forward Unto Dawn is.
Yeah, I really think that over like Christmas and whatnot, because I want to take a break around like the holidays and whatnot. I think around that time I'm gonna sit down with my lady and we're just gonna play Halo and figure out what's what, because it's a series I've always like wanted to get into. I just haven't have not had the time.
Don't you have the remastered edition? Because that's like all those games in one pack on Steam.
Right? I do have the Halo Master Chief Collection, so yeah, I can get through most of the series, thankfully.
I mean, there's camps in Halo fandom. There is the traditional fandom, and I'm one of them. I'm going to admit it right now that I prefer 1 to 3 and Reach as a prequel. Reach because it has the multiplayer mode called survival, where it's you as the Spartans against wave after wave of Covenant soldiers to see how long you survive. It's one of those things where you're eventually going to win, but it's to see how long you can hold out before you finally are defeated.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Spartans were before Halo Combat Evolved.
Okay.
So that's what Reach has. But so far, yeah, I'm a little bit dulled on Nightfall.
Yeah, and maybe I'll also try to make time for that. But I'm adding an awful lot to my plate, especially for next year. So. All right, premiere of 3 game episodes. That's good.
Yep. So it's going to go over video game focused episodes. So we talked about how they adapted video games to TV and movies, which I really enjoyed that day. Video Game Crash, the sequel, and we responded to that video by Tencent. And there's what we think will happen after the Nintendo Switch. So all 3 of these will be on premiere next Thursday instead of an actual live stream. We're going to be recording I'm going to be recording an interview with Albelio, so it's going to be on your channel after you've edited it and gotten the final product out.
Yes, it'll be fun. I think we could probably get another bingo if we made a bingo card.
I think so too. So far, the whatever happened to Castlevania, where I put all of our episodes for that together, all 3, that's been like it's getting closer and closer to 1K views without any promotion. So it's been our most successful one on this podcast so far. I will be making a trailer for this podcast series, like a short video, just saying, "Hey, here it is." So hopefully some more people could go see the podcast episodes and they'll know they're out there. Because the biggest thing against seeing it is you don't know what's happening. I mean,
agreed.
That's one of the biggest problems Disney has. There's been so many movies like Onward or Strange World, and I'm not even going to go into what I disagree about that movie. But the big thing going against those, they didn't try to advertise them. They didn't try very hard. And if people don't know, they don't show.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing with YouTube is that trying to gain any ground, even live streaming, the recommendation system is atrocious. It seems like things are changing, but it's all speculation. I don't know.
Well, what I can see is that I realize that you can't really get seen without making shorts.
You have to do it. Shorts are a nightmare to keep up with.
And the other one. So that's what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to make short episodes saying, "Hey, this podcast is up. Come see it." Because if people don't know, like I said, they don't know, they don't show. So that should be a good part. So we won't be live next Thursday, but we will be having a premiere of our video game episodes for the Switch, Video Game Crash, and video game adaptations on film. After the new, I was thinking of doing more video game adaptations on film for an episode that should be pretty fun. And the first film review episode will be next year in January with Whatever Happened to Vampire Hunter D. Popular vote.
Gives me a reason to sit back down and watch them both.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually having fun watching our own episode of Whatever Happened to Castlevania, where I put all 3 together. It's amusing. I've never thought I'd be as amused with my own work, with our work, but I was. So next Thursday, it's going to be a premiere, and we'll see you then. Same time, same channel.
Yep, it'll be good. It'll be a long conversation. I hope you're ready.
All right. So I'll be playing live with Symphony of the Night. And congratulations on finishing the original Fallout.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Next.
I really wanted to get through it. I was so tired of like running around and doing nothing in cities.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It takes a lot more preparation to get to the master. Either you need to level up so that you have the perk that makes it you unaffected by his mental telepathic abilities, or you find the hidden bomb underneath the without meeting him. That one's
There,
crazy.
there's a bomb?
Yes. There's a reference
Oh,
to Planet of the Apes. You know, in Planet of the Apes 2, where they had the organ, the musical organ that sets off a bomb. They
okay.
have a similar joke reference to Planet of the Apes, where there's a bomb in the vault with the master, and you can go and find the bomb. It's in a
Oh,
secret location and set off the detonation sequence. You just have to run like crazy so that you don't die in the explosion.
oh, that's funny. No, yeah, no, because I don't know if I don't know if you happen to have seen it. I went up there to talk to Morpheus in the tower, and then I just happened to stumble upon him taking me down to the master, and I'm just in front of him, and I'm like, oh, like I skipped like 7 steps. Yeah, that was that caught me a little off guard. Like I knew the master existed, but I didn't know what he looked like. Because I was going through and like after the Fallout series, I was just watching lore videos and more kept discussing the master, and I didn't get around to looking at what the master was specifically. So I didn't have that spoiled for me. I just knew he was down there somewhere. I just had to get to him. So that was
Sure.
interesting. I thought that was actually really cool. But yeah, no, I didn't know where I was going when I was trying to haul ass out of there. So like
That
everything
was
was blind. I'm like, ah.
that was me too, like 10 years ago, and I decided, okay, I want to play the first Fallout in the series. I want to
Hmm.
see exactly what it was all about. And right now, I'm trying to figure out how to get the old Fallout 1 and 2 running on my PC again. I'd probably have to set it to emulate Windows 7, perhaps. But yeah, I mean, for turn-based, it's amazing what they did back in 1994, 95, 96 with that claymation they used to build those animated faces in the dialogue.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not sure how many of their models they still even have, but Timothy Kane, he was the producer for the first Fallout game. He put up his own channel. He has his own YouTube channel where he talks about the making of the Fallout games, and he has some pretty interesting episodes. So
Okay.
I'll leave a link to Timothy Kane in the description.
Sure.
I would say something about Chris Avallone, but he doesn't really talk much. I mean, obviously he had other issues later, but he hasn't really left videos out to the extent that Kane has. Even though even though he was the producer for 2 Fallout games, both Fallout 2 and New Vegas.
Okay.
So
Neat.
I think I'll be catching you on Friday with whatever you have going live. And
I did buy the Dominus collection, and I will be jumping into Order of Ecclesia.
oh, good.
So this will be a whole new Castlevania, since I haven't done this or Dawn of Sorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm part way through Order, and I did make a streaming screen, which is pretty interesting. I'll get back to it eventually, but I'm mostly focused on Skies of Arcadia and Symphony right now. And of course, celebrate Lord of the Rings. December is me playing Two Towers and Return of the King.
Mm-hmm.
More or less.
I'm dreading War of the Rohirrim.
I have dread, but at the same time, it's a weird feeling. Like it's that weird feeling where I just like I don't feel hurt anymore. I'm just enjoying things that I missed in the past. So I decided to go catch up to things that are missed in the past. And thankfully, because of Steam and GOG, I can catch a lot of games that I missed or didn't finish in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so more or less, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful time with this one. We'll be premiering next week. It'll still be the premiere, but we'll be working on an interview for Albelio's channel, and it should be good.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you can also catch Albelio Friday for playing more Castlevania, or tomorrow, because that is Friday, and it should be great.
Yeah,
Have a good
and
night.
I will have the 6th episode of Rings of Power up as well.
Oh, even better.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be a longer one.
All right. Well, everyone, have a nice day, and we'll see you next week with our premiere.
Yep. Have a good day, everyone.
So as this volume draws to a close, I want to welcome you and thank you for stopping by to give a little visit to the podcast of Whatever Happened to the Game. And hopefully you enjoyed and had a nice time visiting here this evening on Thursday night. And I hope you have a nice time. In the meantime, there are links to both myself, my own channel, and to Albelio's channel, who is a guest on these episodes of the series. And I want to wish you a wonderful evening, and you can stop by the channel and related links in the description. Get some Vampires Rule merchandise, or you can just check out some jokes I have every now and then on Instagram. It should be pretty fun. In the meantime, hope you have a wonderful evening, and until we meet again, farewell.